From the center of the galaxy, definitely live on a Monday where you can change the topic of your show. This is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars pop culture and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napso.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and I want revenge. No, I don't. But it's fun to talk about, which we're going to talk about today.
Indeed. You are here for ForceCenter Live, look at Star Wars news. And yeah, we had some other stuff planned. There's a fun conversation to be had around Grogu at the Oscars, and also what we learned a little bit more from some Empire magazine reveals. We are going to discuss that. That's going to come out tomorrow on a bonus edition of Star Wars News. We are going to talk about the Maul trailer, but also, Joseph, we're not going to break format too much. We're back together after a weekend of work and life, and we want to catch up. And what are your Star Wars life adventures, which will probably include this trailer, surprising us all?
Yes. I mean, I would include in life adventures definitely being shocked by old Grogu at the Oscars. We talked a little bit about it on the episode we'll release tomorrow, but that was a fun surprise. My wife hasn't watched any of the trailers, so she was like, wait, Sigourney Weaver is in Mandalorian and Grogu? So that was a fun Star Wars surprise. Had a couple of Star Wars conversations with folks over the weekend, working hard to practice what we preach. And be open to people disliking parts of Star Wars that we like, that kind of thing. Big thing for me this week that I wanted to take a quick moment to highlight is that over the last several years, in preparation for making a feature film, which made the Dead Media film, I made a bunch of different short films, and I kept meaning to put them on YouTube and share them. But then different things would come up and I wanted to have focus. I was getting distracted. So over the next several weeks, I'm releasing a new short film every Thursday. In this past Thursday, I released a short film called The Narrator, which is a weird cosmic horror comedy film starring the great Phil Lamar, who people will know for many, many different things. But of course, Bail Organa stepping in to play Jar Jar in the Clone Wars when Ahmed Best needed to take a little break. A lot of great work from Phil, and this was a fantastic, fun time. And Ken also helped me with this shoot by filming a secret surprise bonus scene right at the end. So I would love to get a little bit more traction on YouTube, because I'm going to be trying to put more stuff up on my personal YouTube channel. So I'm going to drop the link here for The Narrator, that short film, in the chat. And if you are up for it, give it a watch, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to my personal channel if you haven't, because it would really help me out a lot on my filmmaking journey. So here, I'm cutting and I'm pasting, Ken, working hard. There it is. There's the link in the chat if you want to check it out. Thank you, everyone.
There you go. Yeah, check it out. Indeed. You made my shot at the end look great. Made me feel like a cinematographer.
And our friend Christian Ruvalcaba, who I met through you, Ken, helped me out tremendously on this short. I learned a lot of great stuff from Christian.
Indeed. I was with those Wanger boys yesterday on the Oscar watch along. You're going to discuss more tomorrow, but live takes on Grogu, Pedro Pascal, and Sigourney Weaver at the Oscars.
My only critique of that whole appearance is, for a lot of roles, Pedro's had the mustache, so it was shocking to see him without the mustache. I think when they cut to Grogu, he should have had Pedro Pascal's mustache, and I think that would have made the whole thing perfect for me.
Would have been great. I had fun with that too. It was doing the Oscar watch along with the Wangers and Adam Smith over at Christian's place, and I not surprised that they would do that. It is corporate synergy with ABC, Disney, and Lucasfilm, all that good stuff, and you have everyone's attention, and I think it was effective. I think effective for those, oh my God, Grogu's so cute folks that are like, and they're doing a movie, which, remember, exists because we're in a nice Star Wars bubble. And then, anytime you get Molly Damon reacting and crying to Grogu on screen, you get my click. So I think it was fun and good.
Yeah, and the follow up of he can't clap.
That was good too.
Pretty great. He tried so hard. So good. Yeah, so good. Any other life adventures that you wanted to share, Ken?
Yeah, you know what? I want to. if you've been following me long enough, folks, you know I sometimes don't watch things, movies, TV shows. You know, I'm pretty boring, pretty simple. After the end of my work day, I just want to play some Fortnite and go to bed. But I had a great time this weekend. Had a little bit of Saturday night date night, Joseph, and I went to a place I've never been to, even which is a weird shame for living in Los Angeles this long. I've never been to Vidiot's. I'm sure been to Vidiot's.
Yes.
Great spot. How do you describe it? Theater, presentation arena of theater and film celebration, but also a place where you can rent VHS and DVDs.
Yep, it's a video store, theater, and bar. Yeah,
that's right.
It's really got a great sense of community and a great sense of love of the movies. Yeah, we saw Raiders of the Lost Ark on 4th of July, and it was just, man, the energy. It's like, let's celebrate the 4th of July by watching indie punch Nazis. So what was your experience there?
We went to see A Mighty Wind, which is the third in kind of the Christopher Guest mockumentary, I guess you call it series. Big fan of those films, all of them, and I love Mighty Wind because it's got this heart to it. It's got a melancholy heart to it, and it was great to be there. John Michael Higgins was doing a Q&A and helping to intro the film, but Christopher Moynihan, who's in the film and then goes on to a bigger role in For Your Consideration, was there. And then the legend Paul Dooley was there, and his wife, Winnie Holtzman, of course, behind My So-Called Life, but also Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, and, of course, Wicked. And she's great. I actually went to a thing she spoke at in the Groundlings years ago, but Paul Dooley is an absolute legend. Not that I love his stuff, but if you enjoyed modern improv or modern sketch comedy, like Paul Dooley has a lot to do with it. He's 98 years old. And,
wow.
He was in the back there and gave a great funny speech and talking about how Chris Guest invited him to his office and, hey, I want you in this one for sure. Can you sing or play an instrument? No to both. All right, we're still going to get you in there. It was a lot of fun, but it was, as much as I joke about things I don't watch and everything, I do love the communal aspect of film. And you're so right. I'm sure if anyone in your hometown, you might have something like this, or if not, maybe you should open it. But Vidiot's is truly a celebration of film and the community around it. And you felt it, and I had so much fun. And I'm going to make it part of my regular routine. So, hey, shout outs to date nights and going to things in LA I should have gone to 15 years ago.
Well, I hope for just like LA is a big city, and it's obviously a city that has a reason to be obsessed with the movie going experience.
Sure.
Because it needs to financially survive. Will benefit a lot of people in the city. But I really hope for folks all over the place that there are more kind of revival houses and places like Vidiot's where it isn't the AMC experience where people are talking and on their phones and all that. And it reminds you of how good it feels to sit in a big dark room with other people and how it changes the experience to be. I mean, I'm sure you've watched A Mighty Wind alone at home. Different to see it with people and see what they laugh at, what they don't laugh at, right?
Indeed, and it served as it was kind of part of their tribute to Catherine O'Hara series. I think they did maybe Best in Show earlier, but and then John Michael Higgins speaking about working with her afterwards, and that was part of the thing. But just that she comes on screen, the response. And I thought of you, Joseph, because it's some of my favorite Fred Willard stuff. So when he comes on screen and is like, all right, let's get to it. Hey, what happened? A real wet wagon. It's some of my favorite lines of comedy all time.
I forgot that was the movie that What Happened is from. I forgot that was the one. Oh my God.
But I thought how you got to work with him, and he actually said lines you wrote, and so I thought of you there too. So good time.
Such a sweetheart. It was, I feel very lucky to have met him very briefly, and he's so friendly, so nice. Yeah. Anyway, now that we've talked about friendly, nice things in community, is there anything else we should talk about before we talk about Maul?
No, you can check out our merch shop. We're kind of sponsoring that. Hey, go to Patreon, check us out there. We definitely love and need your support. Patreon.com/ForceCenter. But hey, we're not just bantering up top like podcasts. We're doing our segment. We're also stalling for time to get as much people in here to talk about the Maul trailer. Joseph, you and I were minutes away from recording, not the news. The ForceCenter curse is a little bit broken because we go live with news on Mondays. But the trailer dropped. And I do want to shout out Lauren Romo of the Galactic Podcast, who always texts me with like, hey, this is happening. And I always go, Lauren, I'm on the internet. I see this. You don't need to text me. I didn't know today until Lauren texted me. So Lauren Romo, Keep doing it. You saved the day.
Yeah, I saw it, and then like seconds after I saw it, you very kindly posted on Blue Sky advertising our live stream, and it's like, oh no, Ken hasn't seen yet.
Yep.
Yes, and yeah, I went on a journey because I've been so happy that Lucasfilm for the last couple of trailers has given us a heads up. Because I really want to spend time with these things. So I was like, I can't believe they dropped it without warning us. I would have got up early. I would have been ready. And then I watched it and I loved it so much that it drove the grumpy away. Maul's fury drove my grumpiness away. So Mumbo Jim says, if it hasn't been brought up yet, there was a great Grogu cameo during last night's Oscars. We discussed it and we'll keep discussing it. We proposed a Grogu mustache. So let's dive into this full trailer for Maul, Shadow Lord. We're going to talk some big picture stuff. We're going to talk some theme stuff. We didn't have time because we were recording to do like a super full breakdown. So this is going to be much more bigger picture stuff. But in the chat, if there's specific things that you want to talk about or specific things you want to ask us about, feel free. We super appreciate the super chats right now. They help us out a lot. It's a little bit of a tight time for ForceCenter. Anyway, Maul Shadow Lord. So Ken, the thing I want to start with is the big picture. Just the tone of this, the movement and the energy of this. This is perhaps one of my favorite trailers in memory because it is so specific and unique. We talk a lot about over the years of Star Wars embracing different genres, and this so went for, this is an ad for an animated show, but this was also cut and sound designed like a horror film. It was absolutely full on horror. The jump cuts, literally the way the Maul would appear and disappear like a ghost. The sound design, the sort of scraping on metal, unnatural sound that went along with like his lightsaber blade, or the sudden appearance of those creepy hands on the character's shoulder, then bump, 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 up to the Inquisitor. All of it was so very specifically horror, and not just like a pastiche or a flavor. Like we'll have our horror episodes and go, oh, that Clone Wars episode was kind of horror coded. This was the current cinema language in sound and visuals of horror. As not a huge horror fan, Ken, how do you feel about that?
I love it because I think this is going to scare me less than Silver Bullet from 1985. I wrote down as well, horror vibes, without a doubt. The Merrick stuff and the Inquisitor stuff. You're so right to point the quick cuts, the sound design, the Maul of it all. But this, to me, the reason I really love this having a horror feel, and I'm sure as the series stretches out, it's not a Star Wars horror show. I get it, but it's drawing on this aesthetic without a doubt. That's so true. It pays off the concept designs of Maul and how Maul came to be. If you go back to the 1999 stuff and you're looking at all some of the famous designs of Maul and versions of Maul, what should Maul be? It all kind of came out of this. What does a nightmare incarnate look like? Like what is this devilish character? That's horror vibe all the way through. And I'm sure there's some people in our audience who are 7, 8, 9, maybe even up to 10, who were maybe frightened by Maul in the Phantom Menace, that devilish face, the horns, the red, the snarls. That is a horror character, and I think to have it on display here is not only the right choice, it's the choice.
Yes, I was scared, and I was 25. It's just, so just fierce and hateful, and those rotten teeth, and all that. So good in Phantom Menace. People are commenting a lot in terms of the horror of it, of being pleasantly surprised that Merrick, who we previously met, at least a version of in Ahsoka, managed to be more scary. General Cameroni says, I love how they leaned into horror slasher style so much, but it was not tacky at all. And finally, it looks like Merrick will be scary. Our friend Molly says, I was impressed they managed to make Merrick scary. And I think part of that, what was really cool to me about the way that was cut, is it wasn't just style for style's sake. I think a lot of horror functions on, there are things in the shadows that we can't fully see, that we can't fully understand and we can't stop, and they might be right behind us. And I think they are communicating what the people of Janix and what normal people in the galaxy will feel about the Inquisitors. We get so used to knowing everything about the Sith, and here's Darth Vader and his Sears portrait photo on the back of the original Star Wars storybook, and here's Merrick's stats. And why doesn't everybody in the galaxy just go, well, that's Merrick? The Inquisitors at this time are demons, impossible monsters in masks with blades of blood slashing through the darkness, and nobody knows them or understands them. It is like you opened your apartment door and bleeping Michael Myers is there, and like, what? How? I don't understand who this is or what it is. And I love that the language of horror was used to get back to that sort of truth of who the Inquisitors and Maul himself is in the galaxy. Even the language at the beginning of wasn't like, that exiled Sith Lord who didn't make the cut, formerly known as Darth Maul from Dathomir. He's like, hey, this guy who's a criminal syndicate leader and also proficient with a laser sword, some monster is here. The unknowability of them that was communicated through horror was really cool.
It's a great use of these Inquisitors who, I'm going back to the Grand Inquisitor Rebel Season 1, and I was a little dubious, and, you can't have Vader running around, so you get a substitute. That's sometimes how things start, just natural as a fan, but the whole Inquisitorious organization, though I'm not rooting for them, has just grown to be great pieces on the board during this time period, and the designs are just that Star Wars cool, which we all know, collect, and maybe occasionally want to dress up as at conventions. So I love everything you're saying here about their use.
And I want to shout out this great observation from Molly, because it leads us into our theme discussion. Molly says they have such a unique opportunity to use Maul as a way to get very close to Star Wars horror without glorifying the Sith. I think that's fascinating what's going on in terms of who we're rooting for and how and why. But Ken, you're excited for the horror of this, right? Even though you're not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, the horror thing is something that's real. It's not just online personality branding. I have never been a huge fan because I'm a scaredy cat little kid, but I definitely am a fan of the genre for what it always has to say, for the voices and perspectives it is elevated. So I have a lot of respect for it. And a lot of important people in my life have always loved horror films, you included, who have shot some wonderful things here involving horror. So I think it's absolutely again the correct take to approach Maul in this way. I'm excited to see how they use it and what they got to say behind it.
Yeah, I think the trailer did have a lot to say about what the show is about in a little bit of a different perspective. For the teaser, we got a little bit of that sort of the slow, manipulative Maul with these. I'm going to kind of seduce somebody intellectually and emotionally while taking tea with them, and that is a side of Maul. But what this showed to me, and to Molly's point about not glorifying horror, this was to me a trailer about, it was like a short film of what it feels like to be angry. It was like a short film of what it feels like to be held by the dark side, and it felt cool to watch, but not fun or aspirational to be. The whole thing felt like a cautionary tale in its little structure, this trailer. It just felt like this explosion of revenge and fury. I know Maul is going to be calculating in this show, but in this trailer, it wasn't really calculating. It was just screaming, violent fury. I need to find someone else, make them a weapon. His literal dialogue is, the Empire tried to kill me. Their betrayal demands consequence, and that consequence requires a weapon. Together, we can destroy the Empire. It's a little bit of manipulation in there of like, we've got a common foe and all that. But really, what he's saying is a picture of the dark side of, somebody hurt me, so I'm going to hurt them back. And you should get on this just let's hurt each other forever train. This was not a trailer where it felt like he was hiding from the Empire. It feels like he was raging to bring them there. And as the trailer goes on, we literally see Maul's desire, his need for revenge, his need to exploit his fury physically become a shadow that comes over the city, that comes over, I think that's Brander Lawson, that Merrick is leaning over. It's like Maul's fury, his need for revenge, brings more horror to this town. He's just escalating. It is just this kind of endless loop of dark side fury in this trailer to me. What are your thoughts on fury and and Maul's fury?
A lot of anger coursing through the veins of this trailer, and I think it's perfect for this character, as we discussed during the teaser trailer. I think Alex and Molly discussed this excellently in their stuff of this, as it's plainly stated in the trailer, common enemy, not an ally, and that to me leads number one to a conversation about the realities of big tent kind of organizing, which actually like. I like big tents. I just think there's layers inside where not everyone gets invited to the party. But real world politics aside, it's to me pointing a magnifying glass on the motivations for the fight, and like you said, fury, revenge, anger, vengeance. This made me think of, especially the end of the trailer. It's one of my favorite moments. Where you have this other character, and I'm forgetting a lot of the new names. I apologize that are out there, but you have the young potential recruit for Maul saying, "We're not going to."
Devin Azara. Yeah.
Devin Azara. Thank you. We're not going to take out the whole empire. And then Maul does, in terms of slices a walker. And that made me think of Luke Skywalker and hiding, saying, you want me to take a laser sword and take out the entire First Order? I can't do that. And then when he does end up coming to a point of action, it's in the Jedi way, his way, and it is done more about preserving than continuing the cycle. And I just... holding those two things in your hands and looking at them and comparing them side by side, you can just kind of see what the show's going to highlight about analyzing the whys and the hows of your fight.
Yeah, and I loved getting to hear from the Jedi mentor figure, who I think Master Iko Diodaki. Find out.
That's right.
Good that's job. How one pronounces Master Iko Diodaki, saying the Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally. And I think, we've all got the general tone or general idea that this is going to be a story where maybe Maul is the catalyst, but maybe the character we're really following who has the chance to change is Devin Azara, and being pulled between this master and the seductive opportunity that Maul is putting in front of her. Of can she recognize fighting the Empire out of necessity to defend others versus giving into her own anger? She's a Jedi survivor, so the place she grew up, decimated, slaughtered, and emperors crouching, squatting in the holy halls of the Jedi. She has everything to be furious about. How many of her friends did she watch die escaping? So to see this this person who has every reason, all this training to resist Maul's BS, but also every reason to give into it, so powerful. And I really love that we saw that dynamic in that quick battle where toward the end of the trailer, where the Inquisitor is attacking her and saying, "Where's Maul?" Maul's like, "Surprise, B-word, I'm right here." And it really feels like, okay, Maul is already using her as bait, jumps in and starts the fight. And then as the fight is going, there's even a shot where he defends her, right? Where he protects her as the Inquisitor's blade is coming down. And then she gets up and starts fighting more aggressively. And just that right there of like, look at the emotional manipulation of that, of Maul uses her as bait. Maul defends her. She warms to Maul and suddenly becomes more aggressive and starts fighting like him. It's, it's I think this is going to be really rich.
Yeah, it's like on Curb Enthusiasm where they prearranged a mugging to make Larry look like a hero. I think Maul's manipulations here are now at TV comedy levels. But again, Mumbo Jimbo had something that's in line with something you were kind of getting there, Joseph. There, starting to think this show is going to be told through the perspective of people other than Maul, i.e., the Jedi and the security officer. That way, they can keep Maul mysterious still, which is a thought about just the logistics of the show or the character of Maul. But I think I recognize that too in some of the moments of the trailer where we're really focus on this character Devin here, and that's to me one of the ways to approach it. I know they do this in a lot of writing with Thrawn, where we don't really get to know Thrawn. We have other people's interactions, perspectives, and experience with him. Maul, it's not always necessarily the case, but I kind of like that because not that I don't want to know more about Maul, but I also think he is pretty simple in who he is. We've spent so much time with him to analyze the effect of Maul, the seduction of Maul, the hey, he's saying some truth there. I think there's great value in to have the eyes of someone else see him, both his past and his present and possible futures is the right way to do it as well.
And I still think that we will get moments of as close as Maul gets to vulnerable. He wants, I think he wants Devin Azara as a weapon, as he describes her in this trailer, and his voice over in the trailer. But I think he is also just a deeply lonely person, and I don't think he understands that you can't manipulate and use somebody as a tool and a weapon and then also be close to them. But he wants to be close to someone. So I think we'll get those moments of vulnerability, but I really agree. I think there was an article somewhere talking about keep a balance where we keep Maul mysterious, and I don't think this is going to be, I don't think we're going to see him, journaling for his own personal Sith holocron and really laying out all of his feelings. But it's also, in a way, it makes it more it's really compelling to see in this trailer. It feels like Maul is just like this blade that cuts a wound through the middle of Janix, and we get to see how all the different people react to that. To see him just as like a bomb that goes off in this city that didn't have Imperial attention and probably wanted to keep it that way. And then I'm bringing the Empire here on purpose.
Yeah,
because I want to make you fight them, and I want to make you hate them. And just like Maul is just a shit stir. It's really fun, and then I think it keeps it so he can be just on this sort of like I am on a train of fury and purpose, and other people are making decisions about how to react to him is really great.
I love what you're saying here of him being kind of, loud and proud of who he is and who he was, at least for what we see. When this was first announced, I don't know if I had any solid expectations or assumptions of what they were going to do, but when we meet up with Maul later on, or even when we meet him in Solo, there's a little bit of that mystery, right? A little bit of not everyone knows he's behind this and that, and maybe that's just to protect our buddy Han, who's just trying to rogue his way through the galaxy. But he is a little sad and broken and pathetic when he's with Ezra later on. And it's seeing him there. I was obviously curious how they're going to connect to that, but to have it start like right here of like, I fell for the great lie, and look at this, and maybe that could have been mine, and Palpatine did this to me, and he killed my brother, and I had spider legs, and now I'm this, and we're here, and this is who I am. Come deal with me, because I'm going to deal with you. I think I'm really intrigued by that. I didn't think that necessarily would be what they would do.
And they talked in the interview that came out with the teaser trailer about how the series is really fast moving and punchy, and that Maul is the right character to do that. So I am really excited to see them lean into Maul as this utter driving force, because at least in this trailer, I'm sure he'll be manipulative. We know in calm in moments, we know he has his tea drinking scenes, but this is almost pitched to he's almost out of control. And I really like that of like, not only, we know everything he's been through. He came back and failed to get Obi-Wan, and Savage was killed, and the Emperor slapped him down, and the Emperor then manipulated Maul to kill his mother, Talzin, to kill his mom. And then Ahsoka catches him. Not even Kenobi. Ahsoka catches him and puts him in a box, and like, I hope it's like actually like relatively soon after that, where he's just like, my pride is hurt, like deep emotional things, but also like, hey, if people are keeping a scorecard, it's, I'm done. I'm done losing. I got to find some fights I can win for my pride. It feels very raw like that.
Yeah, how, maybe if you're locked in a box,
Yeah.
that's a point of change, reflection, growth, a chance to get it right. But to him to feel the shame manifested into anger and more vengeance, right? That's so Maul, and that's the thing. Again, we it's not even just about we know the end point, but we're very familiar with who this character is, and Anna Whitwer's been out there, whether on the streams or other places, talking about some of the things they're going to be dealing with the character, and I'm intrigued by everything he says. But I just Maul going from the number two to seeing him getting cut out, and not only wanting a piece of that pie. I don't think he wants that anymore. I'm going to make my own. And now I'm talking about food because it's lunch. But I again like the approach.
My stomach is growling. Any other we didn't have a time to like go through and scrub through or that, but do you have any sort of favorite moments or new ideas or things in this trailer, Ken?
I love the use of the term laser sword because that takes me back to battles in 2017 and 2018. Love that. Love that. A little Zabrak showing up, some of the other things there. One of the things I loved is, and I don't know if this is the first time, I apologize if it was on the other thing as well or it's been used, but I just like the Age of Maul branding, almost as if he came up with that himself. It's going to be the Age of Maul, and some heavy metal space rock theme plays. I just really like that, and it got me excited for this series. And overall, I'll just say too, this trailer and everything so far about the show has been just a big win for animation. We are positive on animation here. I do acknowledge, and I think it's a reality, that there is a media pecking order of films, TV, and animation, and books, video games, and comics, and toys, and all the stuff. That's just kind of the reality of the business and reality of life. But we are one of the shows, and we have people in our audience who will say, hey, like, I know what you might think of the old cartoons because you grew up with a different view of it, and maybe your early foray into the Clone Wars was a little different than you expected. Got it. They're doing amazing things. And this has a chance to be one of the more spectacular stories they tell. The big feel, the action, the violence, the vibes. I really love that.
Yeah, the even just like the lighting it's so just an attack of black and red, but still visually really clear. The hand painted details to make the sabers blurrier. It's also like the word gritty gets overused, but this is like, no, literally physically there's texture. So it looks physically, literally gritty, is so fantastic. And I did feel that watching this trailer. I feel like this is an honest expression of that the show is a little bit different. It is a little bit more horror. It is a little bit more just forward moving, but it also felt, and I'm so curious with your opinion about this, it felt like, hey, should we try to reach out to audiences that have maybe taken a break from Star Wars? Of like, Star Wars contains multitudes, and there's the kind of more like heartwarming that we saw last night of Grogu at the Oscars, and there's the kind of the big and weighty, and there's the very political and military of Andor, and this is sort of like, hey, regardless of what age you are, like, do you like Friday the 13th and Metallica? Like, I can just see like people, I won't speak for people not our age, but I can see people our age who took a long break from Star Wars, see this and go, well, that's what I dreamed of, a Star Wars that goes hard. How do you feel about that?
I put down this note, and I think it kind of lines up with where you're going with this here. I wrote these words: confirms spider legs were right. And what I mean by that is often the return of Maul, still to this day in 2026, the year of our Lord, can be mocked by many in our generation who did what you just said. They were there for Star Wars. Maybe they checked out over the Ewoks, maybe Phantom Menace, whatever it was, but they liked Maul. He died. He was cut in half, and obviously they skipped the part when he comes back. You had that experience too, where I think it was a toy aisle was the one that made you go, what now?
Yep, Maul's back. What? Okay.
I still get it. I still face it. And then there was the solo of it all of, well, I thought this took place. Is this before Phantom Menace? Like, and I get it. It's reasonable. And then you got famously, there's a clip out there, people like Paul F. Tompkins and Patton Oswalt, nice folks, funny folks, but just have kind of, I think, outdated views on the Star Wars saga as it continues. This, to me, what you're talking about is George was right to stop Dave in a hallway and say, Maul's back, deal with it. And to have it start so weird and wormy with Morley there with a snake and spider legs. And that itself is weird Frankenstein-like horror, right? There's a lot of things going on there. And this it makes me like, yeah, this isn't just a somehow blank returns. That's not that bad joke. This is, I get it. People survive in Star Wars and other fantasy things as well. Okay, I return to you now at the turning of the tide. This happens. But it's one of my favorite decisions ever made in Star Wars, that we get to now experience what you're talking about and maybe reach out to those folks like you're describing of, hey, you might have checked out for a bit, but remember 1999 when you went, oh, cool. Let's explore that.
Yeah, this trailer really does feel like Molly was saying, a little bit of the having your cake and eating it too, in a great way of enjoying the dark, badass side of Star Wars. It can be scary and awful and cool with the lightsabers, without in any way endorsing it, because it feels like I get to watch at home and watch this scary, cool horror movie, heavy metal, goth Star Wars show that is teaching me it would be horrible to know Maul or be like Maul. So I'm really excited for it, seeming to really find such a great way to walk that line. And I wonder if some of the we've got some questions coming up that we're going to do an episode next week about, where Star Wars might be headed. If this show really works, I think part of where Star Wars should maybe be headed for a little while, at least on the small screen, is really lean into something, because Andor really leaned into this is the political, average person stepping up to fight the Empire, realistic as Star Wars gets realism show, and Maul is the here's what the dark side feels like, it's a horror show, and makes me think maybe that's what Star Wars needs to do, is pick some of its moods and its component pieces of DNA and lean into them for specific shows.
Yeah, I like you bringing in the Andor of it all, and like I said, I've had this change where I was super defensive of and I still get grumpy. I think we all do, of using Andor as a bludgeon against other shows. I'm still very much against that. Very much angry at that in bars, but I myself of the adult Star Wars kind of conversation of hey, but it leaned into that. And it leaned into it in this wonderful way. And if that's what is sometimes needed to reach folks that maybe have checked out or they realize Star Wars wasn't for them. And we always say, hey, if it's not for you and you roll on, that's totally fine. Maybe they did, but they still had that pang of, but it doesn't mean so much to me. Oh, hey, that spoke to me. I think this can be part of that. And Amaranth says this, I think it could bring some old crusty dudes like me, but I'm not a dude, over to animation, which could be great, but also might bring some of the haters who previously ignored, quote, cartoons. And I think it's all kind of in the same bucket of what we're talking about. Yeah.
I think it'll really pop too of, I did a horror shoot this weekend for a short horror film, and everybody involved had a Star Wars thought, and one of the ones that everybody was lined on was how great the Clone Wars were. I think everybody was the right age to have kind of come in prequels or Clone Wars. And, we talk a lot about people come into Star Wars at different times, but if you came in with the Clone Wars, this is really a treat for you. So it'll be interesting to see, not that Disney Plus or Lucasfilm Disney reports numbers, but we can kind of tell in the culture from social media and merch how much of an impact things make. And I'm so curious to see if this makes a bigger splash than Bad Batch, which I love with all my heart and think is one of the best Star Wars stories there is. But it kind of had that joy of people who like it are watching it. One or two people think there are filler episodes, and that's about as much negativity as out there, because it just flew under the radar. And I wonder if Maul is going to not fly under the radar as much.
Certainly the potential, right? This is a main event character for a lot of different generations. So I think whether or not they share the numbers or we know the numbers, but we'll see. We'll see how the fandom reacts. And here we're going to be doing our best. By the way, I know Joseph shot a horror film because it was shot at my house, and this was I want to make sure it's not a problem. I knew you had a good shoot because after you left, there was a smear of fake blood in my bathroom.
Oh,
I'm like, wow, this is a good shoot. Cleaned
Tried
up,
to-
all done. Done.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Good.
Don't worry.
Damn it.
Don't worry. But
tried to get them all. I tried to get them all.
I walked in, I was like, oh yeah, they did some killing in here. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we did. There was some killing in your bathroom. Sorry, Ken. Lots of folks in the chat. We got a couple of questions in comments, but also lots of folks in chat are discussing another of the great parts of this trailer from All Shadow Lord, which was the Duel of the Fates remix slowly building in the music and really coming out at the end. How did you feel about that? Obviously, Duel of the Fates is reused in the prequels and in other places in lots of different ways, but it has really become tied to Maul. There's the little piece of it in Solo when Maul appears before Kira. How did you feel about its use in the trailer?
Love it, because it is what it is in terms of like, yeah, this is Maul's song, whether it was intended to be or not, and it's about so much more than Maul, but it is Maul's song indeed. And for those, again, we're talking about people who haven't checked in with Star Wars for a while. Maybe there's some TRL Duel of the Fates video memories that might bring them in. It just works for me. It is absolutely one of the best pieces of Star Wars music. I think that is known and has been celebrated as it should, but it just adds to this big epic feel with its use here, and it being maybe slightly different, bigger, bolder, more angry. I really like the use of it.
Yeah, I have been lucky to see John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl multiple times, and I think it was the last time that as people were filtering in, the stage was set up as it normally was with all the orchestra, but there was clear stands for what was clearly a vocal chorus group, and you could see
right.
you could hear the murmurs of people pointing just at a stand where singers would be going, Duel of the Fates, Duel of the Fates, he's gonna do Duel of the Fates, look at the stage plotting, he's gonna do Duel of the Fates. That excitement for Duel of the Fates, but also for that element that makes it so powerful. And not, I mean, he uses vocal choruses other places, but Duel of the Fates is the most prominent. So to hear it reworked by the Kiners.
Gwen Webster, our animation champion here, absolutely cannot wait to hear what the Kiners have cooked up for the score. That is I hadn't thought of it in terms of that specific, but the Kiner family and the rework of the main theme for the Clone Wars is still ended up being one of my favorite things. I in 2008 had the what drums kind of reaction. Long Con. It's one of my favorites in Star Wars, of a reworking of a popular theme or a known theme. So, can't wait.
Yeah, get that vocal chorus going. And it did. I love that it wasn't just dropped in. It felt like it segued from this sort of a creepy, angry horror soundtrack to Duel of the Fates, which was fantastic.
Indeed.
Want to grab some of these chats, Ken?
Yes, indeed. We can, let's see, we got that one there. General Cameroni had this one earlier in the show. It's the trauma cycle. Maul, he was raised where the only love, quote, he got was from Sidious was when he killed. If you can try to nurture someone else, but still defaults that level of care for someone. That's kind of a comment about stuff we were talking earlier, but yeah. Again, in what's been advertised as a fast-moving kind of serial adventure kind of show, right? We know that's kind of coming. All trailers so far have kind of made us believe that is going to be true. It's going to be a little bit of a breakneck speed in terms of action. I think getting a chance to slow down when we will about what's Maul about. I almost said Thrawn. What Maul is about with the trauma cycle and his upbringing. Like, I just want one moment where he has the "Why wasn't I picked?" I want that to happen.
I would really love that in animated form. Yeah, in the relationship with Devin, I think, is going to end up being the absolute heart of this. I'm so excited for I'm gonna have to look it up every time. Master Iko Diodaki. But I also think it's possible he's not long for this show, because he's got to go for Maul to get Devin where he needs her to be. And I think how that happens will be fantastic, to see. Orchestrate a Duel of the Fate there for poor Master Iko Diodaki.
He'll be taking a powder early. Molly has a couple. We have, I know they're busy work. At some point, we'll just invite Molly onto the news show. She's always got great comments in our live chat there. Molly says, I was impressed they managed to make Merrick scary. And then another one down here. We'll talk about the Star Wars horror, but I love the comment about the Merrick thing because I think it's a great design. And this is not a Ahsoka shot across the bow. I really like Merrick in the show, but when the big hype of who he is, who's Merrick, what's going on, and then he's stabbed and green mist comes out and it kind of explains who he is at that point. I had a good laugh of all the hours we've all spent kind of speculating on things that kind of get it there, but now we get to really spend, I guess, time as best as we could call quality time with Inquisitors, and I think it's a great character, and he is scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was fine in Ahsoka, but not. I don't think he was shot in a way that made him as frightening of a presence as he is. No. And I think that that perspective of seeing the Inquisitors as a random person in the galaxy who doesn't know they exist, and that isn't the perspective of Ahsoka's like, like this tired old has been. Yeah, guess I'll knock him down again. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, I sorry. I think I accidentally erased Molly's other comment too. She talked about, hey, this is a chance for them to lean into the horror vibes like you and I were talking about earlier, but not glorifying the Sith. And I think that's a great point too, especially for you and I. We seem to have maybe issues even more than others in our lives about like, you're making the Sith seem too reasonable. Calm down there. Calm down there. But I think that's a great point for Molly.
Yeah. No, I'm really, really excited to dig into. It feels like this show is going to let us understand how Devin might be tempted, but not take its foot off the gas of like, but obviously he's bringing terror, because this whole trailer is, I want revenge, so I'm going to bring the Empire down on you. Fun.
Indeed. A lot of great thoughts that we have favorited here. So I'm just, if you see one you like, I'm scrolling through. Oh, David McKay says Maul sings in Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Yeah, does he? Yeah, he does. Okay.
All right.
What song does he sing? Islands in the Stream.
Maybe sings Duel of the Fates. Maul sings it when it is yeah. So I'll have to look that one up on the old YouTubes. Let's see. I think we already talked about that one from General Cameroni. Whoops. Well, this is, we got to make sure to share this. We appreciate the kind super chat from Gars Nagad. It says, nothing on Maul, but calling attention to Ken's new video on Casterly Talk this morning. What did you do, Ken? What did you do?
We just launched a new series where Alden will be interviewing guests. I was the pilot program of like their favorite, a specific character that is a favorite of theirs in either the Game of Thrones world or Lord of the Rings world or even the Willow world. And just kind of diving in deep, kind of free form, unplanned. And it's not the biggest click getter, but we started with me and my love of Stannis Baratheon. The question of, is it relatable? And I think it's a valuable conversation because I take so many valuable lessons from him. And actually, it's an interesting kind of a cross-reference or connection here of, I think Maul's in the same category of Stannis. Stannis is a guy that loses himself in pursuits of power and loses everything that might be good at him. And he's also a grumpy guy, and I resonate with that. But, I think part of his purpose for being in the story is to look at the lessons and go, you don't want to end up like him. And that is why I think Maul being a main character or being a character we can explore more, it serves that purpose. We're probably going to have some points where you empathize with him. You're probably going to understand his perspective maybe a little bit more, see it through someone's eyes. But at the end of the day, don't be like Maul. And I love when stories get to do that.
Yeah, it's so fun. It lets you enjoy kind of both sides of the coin. All right. We also have this from David. Thank you for the kind super chat. The Pikes look more like their live action version in the Clone Wars. How do you feel about sacrificing their distinctiveness for consistency? For me, I think that I am okay with different representations of them in the same way that I'm, okay with Kenobi doesn't always have a super pointy beard. That's the stylized version of him in the Clone Wars. I don't mind them looking a little bit different, and I think this is what David is saying. It's like, well, if they have to look different in live action, fine, but why don't they stay truer to their animated versions instead of shifting closer? But to me, this is obviously the Maul Shadow Lord is obviously building on Clone Wars, but a little bit of its own style enough that I just want I care that they fit this style. And frankly, if they look scary and ominous for this show, that's what's most important to me. What do you think about the changing view of the Pikes?
No, I and I get the difference. I don't think about it a lot, but I do get it, and I love their use in Solo. It was amazing. I love the use in Book of Boba Fett. In fact, the lead Pike, voiced by Phil Lamar, star of The Narrator, short horror film by Joseph Scripture, available on YouTube now, voiced by him. But yeah, I'm with you on here on that too. I will take I'll take a little bit of the consistency side versus distinctiveness. I don't know if that means I failed David's test, but that's where I'll go.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'd be nice for me if they like evolve and like don't keep changing back and forth.
There you go.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. Yeah. One other thing you mentioned it, but I did want to check in on it real quick, is that shot of the Night Brothers was super fierce with the big heavy blaster that you can use in Battlefront 2, the video game. But I mean, maybe Night Brothers, maybe just Zabrax. But how did you feel about, like, I think I was excited to see them. I didn't know that they'd necessarily be featured. But it made me feel like, oh, wow, this is going to be Maul pulling all these people who got cast too. And it feels like, how many people is he going to suck into his obsession with vengeance and probably get a lot of them slaughtered?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting. I wrote them down too, as like in that moment, and there's pure joyful fury in that moment, right? I think it's a great, interesting use of his past or those around him and what his actions or beliefs or the way he leads does to them. I know I do this every once in a while, but I'll reach across to specifically Young Guns 2, the greatest film of all time, where Billy the Kid gets the gang back together. It ain't your gang, Dave. And along the way, they kind of realize how his and his actions in following them have screwed them individually, how they are all on the hook for it. As James Coburn says, you're all a bunch of Billy bastards. This is something that I think I would love to explore with Maul if we're gathering up all the people from his past. I'm not saying this is your life, but I like that they're there. I like that they have a relationship with him, and what's that going to be like going forward?
Yeah, I love that he's sort of like, for his ego and on a practical level, like, I need some foot soldiers. So how about the Night Brothers? How about the Mandalorians? And yes, places where he could find connection, but maybe instead just finds useful weapons and tools.
Well, it's intriguing to me. It's intriguing to me. I think we all sometimes have people in our lives. I have someone in life who's friendships and connections were all built on a manipulation of you to make them, their lives, and their content and product better. And at some point, that person has found themselves with a lot of lack of true friends, right? And it is a little sad to see that kind of play out. And I think Maul, where he ends up, again, I'm not saying this is going to be part of it, but that's what Rook cast and all these people kind of showing up. It's not just his team, but again, we're analyzing, and we don't know if this show's going to go beyond one season. From what I see, I hope it does. But, just we've always asked about how do we end up finding Maul just kind of lost and alone and sad and pathetic. Kira won some sort of battle with him, right? So he is without everything that he wanted. And that's part of the reason that he is so focused on Kenobi and anger and vengeance. So if there's any kind of that thing dealt with here, I'd be curious to see if we can explore it.
Yep. There's a reason you're alone, Maul. David, following up on our conversation about the Pike, says, I always loved their Clone Wars design, so I wish we got more of it. That makes complete sense to me, and I think
I agree.
Excited.
I understand.
Excited to see how it all gets handled. We got some perhaps late breaking news from Molly about the episode drop, which I've been really curious about because I haven't seen them talk about the actual timing of the episodes. The date, yes. The time, no. Looks like episodes are dropping 12 a.m. Pacific time Mondays, and the finale is midnight local time everywhere. Yeah, that's fascinating because I had kind of liked going to primetime.
Interesting. Now you know why our rents are so high here. We get to watch it earlier in our evening. Still get a good night's sleep. Sorry.
Yeah, fascinating. Got a couple other chat questions that I want to be sure to grab here. An important one from Vulcan Nerd. Is Maul a loose leaf tea
Yes.
kind of guy or a teabag kind of guy? Is he a pull out the teabag before adding milk or add milk with the teabag kind of guy? What are your thoughts on Maul's tea preference?
I know he could surprise you with a more sophisticated side. Me being a guy who about every 3 years goes, all right, let me give tea a try, and I just kind of throw the tea bag in the water and hope for the best. I'm a blunt weapon when it comes to tea. I think Maul could be that too, but he could have a Picard side to him, and really put a lot of work into it to make the tea right and have a expectation of what he's going to taste.
I think Maul is vexed by tea. I think he gathers loose leaf tea, the finest, and it's never quite hot enough for him, and it makes him mad. And I think he tries to use the Force to agitate the molecules and make it hotter, but it goes cool on him so fast. No matter what, it goes cool on him, and it makes him mad.
Could he dip the tip of his lightsaber in the tea?
At last, we will have hot tea.
and you got to know, this probably came from Palpatine. Palpatine probably did some early training, Michael Caine and Steve Martin in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. So let me show you how to live the high life here, okay? If you're going to work with me, and maybe Palpatine taught him a tea way that Maul was not happy with, and he's doing it his own way. Maybe.
Tea bags are for winners, Maul.
Ihajka, hopefully he'll call on Friday again. Be good to see other fractions and factions and people's anger at the Empire. Andor did the rebellion and faction so good. Can't wait to see the criminal underworld's anger too. Yeah. And me wanting to spend a lot of time in the underworld kind of realm. I think that's part of it too. Of who understands this is to our benefit of what's happening with the Empire up above, infighting, all those kind of things, and it's a perfect world for Maul and his Fury.
Yeah, and that is one of the really compelling parts of the show. I think of yes, it seems like we're not meeting any characters who would appear to be Imperial sympathizers. All F the Empire, but this is not the way to handle it. Explicitly, the Jedi Master, but also I'm sure the police and the people there are just we just want to survive without them looking at us. It's pretty interesting.
Indeed. Interesting indeed. We've got some logistic questions here. Jeannie from Tahini. Is the Emperor supposed to make an appearance? There's nothing confirmed on my side or that I can recall, right? But, we know Whitwer does a great Palpatine. I think we talked about this before. Natural question to ask for the show. But if he does show up, and I don't think he needs to. Same with the Vader thing. But if Palpatine shows up, any final chance that we can get to have Ian McDermott to the Emperor is something I'm going to take.
I would be very happy for that. And I do think it is a possibility because this trailer made me feel even more in Camp Vader shows up because this didn't depict Maul is just hiding. This depicted Maul is agitating to get the attention of the Empire. It feels more like he is not how can I quietly rebuild my empire, but how can I project a huge middle finger across the galaxy so my mean daddy sees it? It almost is bring Vader to me so I can kick his ass. Because I think this trailer is probably the first couple episodes, and he's let me just clown on these idiot Inquisitors who cannot hold a candle to me, and send your precious perfect boy that you pushed me over for, and I'll take him down, which is not going to happen, right? Because it'd be fascinating to me if the arc of this is he brings Vader, doesn't go super well for him, but he's building enough of an empire or enough of a criminal syndicate that Palpatine's basically like, you're never going to be in the club, but you can have your little crime syndicate because that helps me. Because in Solo, it is explicit again and again that the syndicates are in league with the Empire. So at some point, it feels like Palpatine has to kind of be like,
yes,
you are never going to be invited to the party, but you can sit at the kids' table over there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as if Palpatine is saying, I agree with the Big Ten philosophy, but you can only stay in the lobby. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, no, it's the Vader of it all. And Molly points out, Palpatine not confirmed, but if he was in Bad Batch, he was. Great appearance in Bad Batch. I think there's a chance for this. It's just one of those things that we've talked about the Vader of it all before, but I think it's on this episode good to say again. I'm just like, it makes sense. It isn't just a toss Vader in there approach. This would be the spot of Vader. Would you call him? Go get my once perfect power boy.
Yeah. Perfect precious boy. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think it is. It's so like when Maul came out in '99, and it was just sort of classic nerd. It'd be so cool to see them fight. But with all the wonderful storytelling that has been built up over the years, it's so personal and psychological, and it'll be so cool, but so sad because these are two people who have been abused by Palpatine and are being asked to constantly prove themselves to a terrible father. So it is just psychologically rich to have these two wounded people trying to kill one another to prove themselves to a person that they can never fully please. Is like, that's pretty rich for just two cool guys with swords fighting.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the big fight. We can analyze it like it's a boxing match.
And they can be so mean to each other because Maul knows who he really is. I just so want Maul to be like, remember when you cried because I almost ran you over? You were just a little boy missing your mother.
That's great. JB Vulcan Nerd asks, do we think Kira will show up? I don't think I don't have hopes for Kira in this season, but if you continue with it, I absolutely think there's a place for Kira in the story. We're big fans of Kira here. We're both big fans of Emilia Clarke, so any chance we can get her to maybe explore the character, though I know she was voiced by someone else in the video games, but it's again something that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think as the season rolls on, we'll see the trajectory of this. If it's a one season spectacular, or if it's a 2 or 3 season thing that is in this timeline, because we would have to jump in the timeline a bit to get to Kira. If this is pretty quickly after the Empire, we've got 10 years before Kira shows up in his life.
This continuing is something I absolutely want, just based even on the concept of what we've seen, but approaching it in a bit of an anthology but it's Maul at different points in his journey. I think that'd be fascinating. Yeah. Mumbo Jimbo pointing out something. We've talked about this before, but I think it's good to be mentioned here. Maul fled Vader at Malachor for a reason. It'd be nice to see the initial duel. Yeah. Maul was like, gotta go.
Got other plans. Yep.
Gotta go. Yep.
Oh, what? I mean, he's due for a new set of legs. We need a new Maul action figure.
Yes, we do. That's all the pre-selected questions I got there. If you got any more,
Yep. No. I think great chat, great excitement. I think my only final question for you, Ken, is to a cautionary check-in. So, I absolutely loved the teaser trailer for this, but it definitely had some scary moments and some horror moments and some energy and all that. But it was a little bit more tonally conventional Star Wars. This was so different. This was such energy, such fury, such horror. Is it possible that that's more for the trailer and this won't be what the episodes feel like?
It's possible. I'm them describing it as they've had as they have with the again, serial adventure connected kind of thing. We've added
You're right.
the speed and fury of it, I guess maybe. But yeah. Again, we want those tea moments. We want those quiet moments. I don't think this series will have that often annoying discourse of filler episodes, which is to me a thing that doesn't really exist, at least in this saga. So I think we'll have less of a chance because then 10 episodes, it's got to move, it's got to groove.
Yeah, no, I very much agree. And I think I'm very excited for this, and I really hope that there are some set pieces that are full of horror. I think it is still going to be that we're going to have the tea scenes and the quiet scenes and I think some noir, moody investigation scenes. But I hope that there are some just full on horror scenes that are cut this way with this kind of energy as well.
Indeed. What a good trailer. What a surprise on a Monday.
What a horrible dark treat.
On Wednesday. Thanks to everyone hanging out with us, asking great questions, super chats. Greatly appreciated. If you're watching later, leave a comment, like. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a super thanks later as well. For the audio listeners, we're happy you are listening on the podcast side. And I know some of you split the difference, or you just put the video on in the background, turn the sound down, and then listen on the podcast version. Whatever you do to help us, we appreciate that. We will have on Friday our live call-in show. ForceCenter Now will be about your views on the Maul trailer, favorite moments, things you're looking forward to. And I'm sure that might come up again. We kind of did something with the teaser trailer like that, but you guys want to talk, and our ForceCenter friends have a lot of wonderful, insightful things to say. So look for that Friday, as we always do, our live stream there. Follow us on all the right spots. You choose the right spots for yourself. And patreon.com/ForceCenter. Get in there to discuss things. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Check out my show, The Blathering Live. Have Cade Huseby, filmmaker, on tonight's show for a fun segment. We go live 2 to 3 times a week over on my YouTube channel. Joseph, though, your YouTube channel is hopping and active right now.
That's the goal. So yeah, you can find me on all the social media at Joseph Scrimshaw, and you can check out my YouTube page, which is just my name, Joseph Scrimshaw. I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time to the short film I did with Phil Lamar. There'll be more short films coming out in the next several weeks, including some horror. So please do check that out. I would really appreciate the help as I try to build that channel a little bit.
There you go. All right. I think, my friends, as the music maybe starts to play, it does. That is us wrapping up today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.